If you're the type of person where it's so hard to get yourself to put on your running shoes and get out there, it's not for you.
Questions are leading for Savanah, and the whole idea behind it is not to necessarily encourage you to go running. The idea is to encourage you to pursue a goal that's important to you.
It's not a competition. I mean, if you want to look at it as a competition, you are your own competition. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Welcome to the Munch Corner. We are very excited to see you in the new year. And we've got a great start today. So I get to be a little more of the host, which I'm enjoying very much.
And I'll start it off since we're starting very good this year. I'll start off with a confession. I have been drinking my tea before pressing record, so
that's true.
You might see a few sips less, but it doesn't change the fact that we're all enjoying tea here together right now.
Yeah,
so
and
I have Ceylon with me.
So we are starting with a very traditional tea from Sri Lanka, and that's because we're going to start off with a traditional start with the new year, and that's everybody's favorite thing, which is, what are your resolutions for the new year?
Yes, it is filled with probably goals that you have or something.
I thought you said gold there for a second.
Gold. Well, that would be nice. Talk about winning the lottery.
We've been talking about the lottery because we've been playing it. And of course, at this point, it is worth about $1
billion. Yeah, the
with
US lottery.
So that's a nice round number. I think we might be able to.
That would change just a little bit, wouldn't it?
It would change just a little bit. So I would start with a little bit of humor. So today I'm taking advantage of the fact that Savanah is my guest because I am going to be introducing a few questions for her on one of her New Year's resolutions.
I have no idea what he's going to throw my way just because he wanted to take reins of this episode.
This is the element of surprise.
Okay.
So I thought we would start with a little bit of humor. So right now I'm going to give you 10, and they'll be short, very funny New Year's resolutions that we should all probably get a chuckle out of.
Okay.
So we'll start
like to
with
hear
those.
This.
So here's the first one. I will think of a password other than the word password or hello as a New Year's resolution.
I've never used password as a password.
But I think some people actually do, just like some people would put their password on a Post-it on the computer.
I think that's a pretty easy one to hack into, though.
Why? What are we going to do tomorrow night, Rain?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Okay.
Yes, password is not a good password.
Yes, be a little bit more creative, everyone. Protect your privacy.
Protect your privacy. So the second one, this is also funny. I will not bore my boss with the same excuses for taking time off. I will think of new excuses.
That's good.
So clearly,
maybe don't create an excuse though. If it's real, then
I think the idea is like I'm still going to take the time off, but I'm going to come up with a different excuse for it this time. But I'm still going to do it anyway. The third one, you'll identify with this, and I think a lot of people out there. So I'll give you a little smile right up front. I will give up chocolate totally. 100%, completely.
Why?
Honestly, that would be the reaction I would expect.
Oh my gosh, enjoy it. You only live once. Why deprive yourself? What's going to happen in 2027 then? They're going to bring it back in because they were so good for a year? My gosh. The second they open up a bar from abstaining for so long,
yes,
they're going to not stop. They're not going to stop. Don't do it. Don't create this deprivation period that makes you just want to eat even more. Okay, what's the next one?
Well, there's a lot of chocoholics out there, and I know this would be a very tough one. So this is probably a attempted reformed chocoholic.
But don't do cold turkey.
No,
like just
go
stop.
down from like 9 bars a day down to maybe 1 bar per day.
Okay, yeah, and maybe if you're doing that, please do.
Okay, here's our next one. I will figure out why I quote unquote really need 9 email addresses. So for those people out there,
9 email addresses,
a lot of email addresses, because they think it's good.
You probably need to eliminate a few.
Yeah, you probably need to think about that a little bit because you're going to be checking 9 email addresses. So this one is a little bit of a dark humor, but I still thought it was a little bit funny. I resolved to work with neglected children, my own.
Yeah, please don't neglect your children.
So again, a little bit of humor into it. All right. I will stop sending emails, instant messages, on the phone at the same time I am with the same person.
Okay, I do that with you.
Well, but we're not in the same room when that actually happens.
No, sometimes we can be.
Well, we do it because it's tongue in cheek. It's for us to kind of laugh a little bit.
It is pretty funny though, but it depends on the chemistry you have with someone. It's probably.
Well, I think in Savanah, in my case, oftentimes it's a craving she has that she sends over, and she makes it seem like it's
when you're trying to be funny, you send a text,
and she makes it seem like it's Ryland asking for it rather than herself. So
yeah,
Ryland asked me to tell you this.
Yeah, it's pretty cute.
So
though.
it's pretty cute. But I think we've seen enough people out there that like are sitting at a restaurant, they're on their phones and they're probably texting each other rather than just talking.
Yes, let's communicate up front.
The seventh one, so this one is probably one that I think you'll laugh at. I will always check for paper when leaving the restroom.
I think you should do that regardless. Yes, that's a good resolution.
That's a very good resolution.
Have that one.
So there's no need for anybody to know what's going on. All right. There's two for number 8, but I'll read one of them, but I'll give you kind of the hint at the other one. I will try to drive closer to the speed limit.
I really hope that doesn't mean that they're going too fast and they'll slow down as opposed to the opposite. But I'm probably wrong. Well, yes, please drive the speed limit.
I think they're driving over 80 and they'll try to do
75.
79. So now the counter one to this, which I didn't pick in this top 10 because we're going to keep it at top 10, was I resolved to leave more room between myself and the police officer I'm following.
Yes.
So don't tailgate police officers. Not a great idea.
Don't tailgate, period.
Period. But police officers, probably not a great idea. They are looking for you at this point.
It's funny.
This one kind of gave me a laugh, and it goes with travel. So you may laugh a little bit at this because it is a little bit of dark humor too. So, and then the last one you're going to actually love. So I will stop saying, "Oh, that feels nice," whenever the security guy frisks me at the airport.
Oh my gosh, you know what? You probably made that security guard's day with that job. Oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure they're laughing with the person.
With the right TSA person, you're going to get a sense of humor.
If you catch the wrong one, you're in trouble.
No, they'll say, all right, time for a second type of search, not the one you want to have.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and number 10. So this is going to tie into our conversation today and a lot of what Savanah is beginning to share in what she's doing. So number 10. Cut down on exercise. Too much is bad for your health. It could even kill you.
Oh, on a extreme level?
On an extreme level, yes.
Then that must be like what did you get? A workoutaholic?
A workaholic, yeah. Oh, I guess
workoutaholic.
That would be a workoutaholic. Yeah. You're right.
Okay, well, maybe that person overdoes it.
So now the reason we decided to show some of these funny ones is because truly we do use the new year for these resolutions. That's a perfect time to set goals. It obviously isn't the only time to set goals, but it tends to be one that starts every single year. And exercise, the reason I picked that one as the last one is because that's a very common one that starts, you're going to start.
It ties into health and wellness, especially your overall well-being and mental health as well.
It is. It probably comes a little bit after the end of the year comatose with too much food and chocolate and sweets.
People tend to find, I think, a lot of holidays in general as a cheat to go away from their normal routine and eating habits. And again, we'll discuss that throughout the episode of our perspectives on that. But I definitely don't see it as a cheat more than it is allowing yourself to enjoy something, because titling it a cheat is you telling yourself it's bad. Well, because cheat is associated with you did something wrong.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So I have a series of questions that I'm going to be asking Savanah.
I'm excited because I don't know what to expect.
About her journey. Now, I left one that's very provocative for the end.
Okay.
So, it's going to take a little bit of thinking, so come through with that. But stick with us. And,
all right, I'll stick with you. I'll be right here.
Okay, you'll be right here. This is perfect. So, just for everybody to know, Savanah has started running. So this ties into the exercise theme itself. You're a lot of goals, and I think I would have to say probably in the top 10 for people with New Year's resolutions, getting exercise and getting back into shape is one of them. So as we're all entering into the new year,
if it's even if it's just for body goals or just mental health in general, some people do it because they need more energy rather than they want to get into shape. So I think a lot of people can find many different reasons as to why that getting into shape is so important.
Okay, you're kind of like preempting my first question.
Okay.
So your first question for you is, what set the stage for you to start running? Why did you pick running, and why are you deciding to actually?
You want my honest answer?
Well, between us and the audience, yes.
Okay. So honestly, I am 10 weeks, not 10 months. I am 10 weeks postpartum. So
and she looks absolutely wonderful.
Oh,
for the
you're
10
very
weeks.
nice.
Yes.
Thank you.
So just pointing that
So
out.
for me, after the doctor clears you at 6 weeks, so they clear you to work out. We have 2 little ones under 2, so my ability to be able to do a workout or anything in general is pretty tough. So I picked running because you can put them both in a stroller and you can go. But I've run on and off for a few years before and after Omar and I have gotten married. And I found very much an energy from it rather than it being, oh, I've got to go run again. It was just enjoyable. So I picked running just because there's this mental space you get into where it feels like it's a zone that you just release and you just let go of absolutely everything you're holding on to. And the adrenaline of stopping. So if you've run, say, 2 miles and you finally stop, give me 5 minutes and I'm ready to go another 2 miles. That's how energizing it is for my body because I've allowed all that negative energy just to get released. And it's a very lively feeling. So that's why running is definitely
so
the
now
one
we
I've
know
chosen.
a little bit about this. I used to run myself. I've competed in, probably my longest race was a 10K. I do not run anymore, and I don't know. I think Savanah runs circles around me. So for me, I think getting back into that, it's a different thing. I also used to do cross country much earlier when I went to college and in high school. So I did enjoy parts of that, but for some reason, it doesn't really pull me in at this point.
It probably might not be your thing. I think the biggest thing is you need to want to run. Not forcing yourself to run is not enjoyable.
No,
but if you
agree.
feel like I'm so excited to get out there to run, you're going to enjoy running. But if you're the type of person where it's so hard to get yourself to put on your running shoes and get out there, it's not for you. It's something else.
So these questions are leading for Savanah, and the whole idea behind it is not to necessarily encourage you to go running. The idea is to encourage you to pursue a goal that's important to you. And it doesn't have to be anything related to exercise. So what we're talking about today is Savanah's journey in doing this, but also your journey. And so we
all get there in our own different ways. And it's important that we encourage every single one of our audience members that we're all going to get there in a different way, and we might have different outlooks on it. Either which way, if you're moving 10 steps or, then falling back 2 steps behind, the whole point is you need to keep moving no matter what you're doing.
So here comes the next question.
Okay.
So you've decided to start running. It is a great mental space for you. So it's part of us, I think, in general, taking steps for our own betterment. But now the question becomes, what is your motivational goal? What are you looking for as a milestone that you want to achieve as part of this goal?
So for me, it's very much to get back into shape.
Okay.
Having had 2 kids, I would like to be able to enjoy what it feels like to be fit again for my kids, just because, having a toddler and having a baby, it's ever the encouragement I need to run around with them and enjoy life with them. But also for myself, that's a big thing that I want to give myself, because I have gone through 16 months plus another 9. Our son is 16 months. I've gone through 2 long pregnancies very close together. And this is what I want for myself because it makes me feel good, not because I want to prove anything to anyone. Outside of being able to give my kids an energetic and loving mom and a mom that's in a good mental space, this is very much, I want this for myself. And you need to want something for yourself. You can't rely on other people to want it for you. Otherwise, you're not going to get there. And I think that's what a lot of people need to remember is you are going to be your biggest motivator. And if you don't want to get there, you're not going to get there unless you try.
There are two takeaways from what Savanah's talking about. One is, for those of you who have never had toddlers, they run like little rabbits. And they never stop until they sort of like keel over and they're done for the whatever they're doing. But in between those two times, it's nonstop. So this is like the first takeaway. Toddlers have a ton of energy, a lot more than most adults will ever have. And their little minds burn through everything. So second part is, and she picked up on a very, very important point, which was the whole concept of setting goals for yourself, not for others. So I think those are two key takeaways, and this is part of what
it's not a competition. I mean, if you want to look at it as a competition, you are your own competition, and you shouldn't be comparing yourself to anyone else. Because if I was comparing myself to another mom that's running or a person that's not a mom, or pick and choose the differences that we have, but they're on a completely different journey and their circumstances are so different to mine. So it really has no relevance. So don't even bother yourself with comparison, because that is going to just bring you down. You are your biggest probably biggest comparison that you can pick. And definitely don't compare yourself to a past self just because no one's going back in time. You're only moving forward and you can only better yourself.
Unless we're in a paranormal experience of some kind.
Please check out our other videos.
Yeah, check out our videos. So part of the same question for you, and I think it's important for the audience to understand this, is you're setting yourself the goal to be back in shape. Okay, so that's very broad. How are you going to measure that goal? Because I think achieving a milestone or a series of milestones to get to your goal is
to work towards.
So what are your milestones and how are you setting them for yourself?
So my milestones are definitely one step at a time. For me, the shortest marathon I can run or race I can run is like a 5K. So I, from 6 weeks, the day my doctor cleared me, I started running gradually every day. And if there was a day that I was too tired to run, I stopped. I listened to my body. So if I have a day where my body gives me the energy that I need to run, I'll take the run. And so I'm gradually getting myself ready for a 5K. And then after the 5K, I will try a 10K.
And is there anything more after a 10K?
Yeah, of course. I want to take it much further. I'd love to run a marathon.
You want to run a full marathon?
I'd love to one day.
Okay, so Savanah and I haven't talked about a full marathon, but we've talked about a half marathon as kind of a goal. So, I mean, for those of you out there,
it's the year is 365 days long. I don't have to get there in this year, but I'd like to get there eventually.
I will tell you that there are some really great races out there for those of you that want to make running as your way to do this. There are very family-friendly ones, and particularly, and it's not just in Southern California; it's actually all over the world.
Oh, I've seen amazing races. Like I've seen one in the desert before. Yes. I wouldn't go that extreme, but there's amazing locations like in snow or especially elevations. Elevated.
So there's some different things. So my 10K was in San Diego. When I did it.
It's a nice area.
It was a beautiful area. It started in the Gaslight District. And then the reason I was so interested in it, because San Diego is not like right around the corner from us here. It was about roughly an hour and a half, 2 hour drive to get there. And you start at 8 o'clock. I mean, so you're on the road a lot earlier to get to wherever you need to be. But the reason I was so motivated by it is because the setting was, we were going to end up on Coronado Island. For those of you that don't know anything about San Diego and Coronado Island, there is a single bridge that is an enormously tall bridge. Like for those of you who do not like heights, do not look over the edge of this thing. And it does not have any pedestrian access. So you would never be able to walk it in any way. But the reason it's so tall is because the naval shipyard's over there. So it's a naval base, and they're getting Navy ships to go underneath that bridge. So that
is a sight.
So the setting was really, really important for me. It was like the Gaslight District, which is a beautiful part.
So was that your motivator to do that race?
Yes, that was my motivator to do that race.
Oh, that's nice. That's a great thing to look forward to.
So I think I had my best time that I've ever had in running, and I've never had a stellar time, so I'm not going to bring that out. I'm not this 4-minute mile kind of person. I am probably more of at the time I was probably an 8 or 9 minute mile type of runner. So, but the whole idea was it was just to see what I could do. So it was just me, and I was totally good with that because it was a personal experience to have. So I really enjoyed that, and for me, there's an excitement in seeing Savanah go and do this because there probably will be a race similar to that. Now, I've not looked for that. I did do some research for races for her a little bit, just more recently, just to see what was out there. And there's going to be some really beautiful ones, especially if you can get up to the half marathon, the marathons, because then that's where a lot more, I think, interesting things tend to happen.
I won't pack my schedule with all these races. I will do them as my training progresses and as I feel ready, just because burning myself out won't do me any good.
So I'm going to plant a seed here, and I'm going to do it on the air with everybody. Ragnar.
What the heck is that?
So Ragnar is a relay race.
Okay.
You're with a team, and it's 200 miles.
200 miles?
You're not running the 200 miles.
Yes, I got that.
Your team is
it's
collectively
like a
doing
cross country. You're tag teaming.
Yeah, I mean, it could be cross country, it could be more local. So,
okay.
But there's a sub community out there that absolutely loves relay races. And part of it is long distance.
Well, I need
running.
a team for that.
Well, you can join teams. I mean, that's not
applications are down below.
Yeah. So you can set up your own team. You can have other teams, but there's a whole process in getting this to go. But it's another endurance push with running at a completely different level.
It's nice because you're doing teamwork.
And you're doing teamwork,
and that's something if you like to do it as a group as opposed to as a personal race.
So I'm just planting a seed here, and I'm going to see where it sort of germinates. Okay, so now we've gone through a little bit of the milestones that she's going to have for the year as she's going to try to accomplish this goal. So now the question is, what keeps you going?
As I run.
As you run,
or in general.
And then in general, because this isn't an overnight goal for you.
No.
So what keeps you motivated and what keeps you going?
Definitely, I will say the biggest thing that motivates me is seeing how far I have come rather than how far I still need to go. Okay. So as I am running, and I'll say it in general, and as I am running as well, if I set myself up for a 2-mile run, and I've run a mile, I'm not looking at it as I've still got a mile to go. I look at it as I've just run a mile. You bet I can do another mile. Another mile is going to be nothing against that. So it's being proud of myself of where I've already come and what I've achieved. So if I say I've been running for 4 weeks since I've been cleared from my doctor, it's like, well, if I've been running since 6 weeks postpartum, gosh, I've got an entire journey ahead of me. I'll just keep running because I can get even better. So it's seeing my accomplishments is what drives me forward, because you should be very proud of yourself no matter how small or how big the accomplishment. Again, it goes back to your own comparison. So if you just want to bet to yourself, not to compare yourself to others, it's such a good feeling to have that self-motivation.
So another key takeaway here, obviously, for those of you out there that are looking at this, and hopefully this is helping you, is, and I believe Savannah's absolutely right, if you look at the horizon ahead, and especially if you set yourself a very long-term goal, let's say a marathon in this case, a 5K doesn't feel like a marathon. There's such a big difference between the two. So, but celebrating the fact that you've either taken a run and you're halfway through that run, or you've taken multiple runs and now you're at your goal for the 5K. And then,
it's a big accomplishment.
So I think and she's right.
It's like a badge of honor that you should wear. It doesn't matter who else ran maybe a 10K.
Right.
But the fact that you ran the 5K is like, you're there, you did it, you got yourself there and you ran the 5K. You should give yourself a pat on the back for that, because a lot of people don't even get there yet. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely getting yourself to initially do something can be very daunting, because you can procrastinate, or I will be very honest, I have a fear of failure, and that has affected me throughout my entire life and held me back from doing things. So by being proud of myself for what I've accomplished drives me forward a lot. And that's something I've definitely and still need to overcome.
Yeah. So Savanah, even though you can see she's a bit emotional here, there's an honesty with yourself that I think is very important, that we should all have in setting goals, accomplishing goals, and celebrating what you have accomplished. So no one walks on this earth without something that holds them. This is part of our journey. This is what we talked about, a soul's journey. You will hear us talk probably in the future more about the concepts of things like past lives, future lives, and how we look at a soul's journey overall. And we're going to talk about that today. So we haven't stopped on the journey part, but we're all walking that journey. When this is probably the hallmark of what creates Munch Corner. We're still all trying to figure it out, and that's what we're doing together here a little bit. So Savanah is being very vulnerable and bold at the same time, and explaining some of the challenge that she has. So this ties into one of the things that, what advice would you give to somebody who has a goal, doesn't have to be running, to overcome the everyday challenges that might keep you from your goals?
Okay, so I believe that we're all human and we all have off days. And it is very important to give yourself grace that if in your journey to get to whatever goal you have set, you have an off day or you have an off match or a run or whatever you want to call it, or a test, whatever it may be for yourself, that if it doesn't go right or the way that you wanted it to go or expected it to go, just let it go. If I go through a day or a week where I didn't manage to get myself out the door to run, it's like, you know what? I just have even more opportunity to do better next time. And it's not a punishment. It's not to say I didn't go this time or I didn't do well this time. Now I need to do 10 times better. It is really just in order for ourselves to be so successful and progress to where we want to be, we're going to fall back, and that is going to be completely okay. So for me, if I had to give you anything to hold on to, is give yourself grace, because we're all going to have bad days. It's not to mean that your journey or what you did was wrong. But you know what? Sometimes it happens, and we'll just keep moving forward, because keeping yourself up and, getting another 10 steps forward because you fell 5 back is the best thing you can do for yourself.
So I'll add a little bit to that. So I think you can look at it on a day-by-day basis, or you can look at it on a longer period. Failure to accomplish something that you set for yourself, and I'm using that word specifically because I think a lot of people will put that word onto themselves. I failed to run today, as an example. But you really could be doing goals that include being closer to your family, or you could be doing business goals, or you could be working in a bigger team and have goals as well. So there's a lot of places where things don't just turn out the way I think you intended them to be. Mm-hmm. However, that being said, every single time you have a piece of wisdom that comes from this. And when we talk about why we're here in our soul's journey, it is about a bit of that wisdom. And recognizing it outside of yourself helps you, I think, for the most part, move forward into the next stage. Because if you don't, and you choose to say, I'm going to sit within that energy, you will not feel the motivation.
You're not going to move. You're going to be stagnant.
You're going to be stagnant. So the whole idea is to
just
wake up
to keep moving.
Now, in terms of like techniques and everything else to do that, I think that's kind of individual. I would have to turn around and say, I will tell you, one of the biggest mood changers you could use out there is music. So,
if you like music.
If you happen to like music. So music has an energy about it. It's like, what kind of music do you use for a run or for a workout or something like that? It would be different than music for relaxing.
So finding something that keeps you strong through what you're doing, or that drives you, is a very great tool.
Or is able to shift your mood. So I think, because if you're able to shift your mood, you're going to shift your motivation. All right. So next thing is we already tied in it a little bit. So describe the rewards that you're feeling in going through the journey. Not the milestones, not the direct goal itself, but going through this whole process, which is your journey.
Mm-hmm. Feeling stronger. Okay. Feeling stronger, feeling more energized, and seeing the results in the reflection. It's definitely nice to know that what you're doing is paying off. But for me, it's the ability to show myself that I can shift my energy, because I find that I get energized from running as opposed to it drains me. I'm ready to go again. That is probably the biggest rewarding part, is the energy and feeling strong.
So sort of like the nuance of this question is about, it's one thing to say I have a goal, and we'll use your goals. I have a 5K goal, I have a 10K goal, I have a half marathon goal, and I have a marathon goal. So all those could be accomplished in 1 year, but they could also be less than that accomplished in a year. So those are targets that you're reaching. You're going to say, I'm going to be at my first 5K in, let's say, 2 months, whatever it would be. So you're setting yourself a goal to try to get there. How about the part that says the journey is more important than the goal? How would you view that as a statement?
That's very powerful, just because it's very easy to have a pinpoint in time, say my race is that day, as opposed to the 4 weeks leading up to that race has made me stronger, more patient with myself, wiser, grateful for my body, because my body, went through these few weeks of training or learning how to better fuel myself. So the journey of these little nuggets of what you have to learn in the process of getting to the goal of being able to run, in this case, a 5K, is so important, because you've just learned an entire new avenue of your body that you probably never knew before. And that's how to take care of it, fuel it for the race. And you just gain so much more wiser perspective on there's a lot more to life than just simply an event, but how you got there. So in this case, it's definitely in being in awe of the human body and the journey your soul can take with the emotional development as well that you're doing in that period of time. Just because there's a huge energy shift from leading up to a race than it is just getting to the race. And I think that's really important for people to understand, that you can shift your mind so much if you allow yourself to feel more in the moment. And in this case, it will be every day for me, my soul's peace in finding that run today was great, and it's going to flow into the next one and the next and the next.
Yeah, and I think this is an important, almost life lesson for all of us. We have a tendency to not necessarily be present in these moments that are very important.
It's very easy to get stuck into routine and the motion of things.
Exactly. And so being present with the day, being present with, our children, being present with each other, being present with friends, with family. These are all very important parts of the journey, but also being present with your own goals. I think there's a beauty to that our souls crave. If we always look ahead and say, that's what I'm targeting, and everything in between doesn't matter that much, you lose
all the in between.
You lose all the in between, and you're going to wake up and it's gone. You're not going to get that back.
And then you're going to feel this crash of energy, which a lot of people refer to it as the excitement of the holidays. And then right after the holidays, there's this plummet down. That's like the beginning of the year, because what do I have to look forward to now? Well, it's because you only set your horizon so far ahead. You had nothing else to look forward to. And knowing that there's going to be several little pinpoints or nuggets that's going to be part of your journey is so important that you keep in mind, because it doesn't stop at one point.
I would agree with you. Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to dive right into our next one.
Okay.
What are the top 3 things that you're going to see changing by going through this new journey for yourself? So your journey is the running, it's the targeted goals. You're giving yourself the year and the time frame to do it. What do you think are the top 3 things that you're going to feel and derive as part of this journey?
Definitely wanting to show my kids that they're very capable as well.
Okay.
So by me running a 5K and growing towards that is what my son is now very observant as I run. So he'll sometimes moan and say, enough is enough. We're done running. We've been running now for 45 minutes. Let's just stop. For me, it's going to be...
And when we say we, remember he's in the stroller.
He's in the stroller. Showing my kids that you are very strong and capable if you set your mind to it.
Okay.
I love being able to model that to them, whether it's going to be in running or anything else. It doesn't have to be in what I'm doing, but definitely that. And then, I will probably set myself up a bar higher to strive towards. So as I reach something that I've achieved, I will give myself a lift up and say, okay, well, you've achieved this. You can achieve it again, but you can achieve more too. So definitely more.
So you've now been motivated by our kids, and then you've been now motivated for yourself.
Yes.
So it's part of seeing what you can do. It's like pushing yourself to a new level. What's the third one?
Okay, that's very interesting. You have put me on the spot right now.
And this is exactly why we're doing this.
Okay.
You're getting a very genuine response to our audience.
Probably... You know what? I probably wouldn't mind writing a book about it.
Okay, so describing the journey.
So
I like this. Okay.
I love writing. I haven't written in a long time. Being a mom is very time consuming. I will still get back to my writing. But to tie in the gratitude of the journey and motherhood, I think is a story that needs to be told, in my voice, and probably writing a book on being a mother and finding myself again.
Wow, that's going to be very profound.
Yeah.
So Savanah is an exceptional author, just so everybody knows. And I think it's one of the things that we shared in common. She has beautiful and brilliant and imaginative ideas. So it's going to be fun for her to create a story that could be fictional or non-fictional, depending on how it comes through as part of this journey. So those are amazing kind of top choices. Okay, so we're going to go from that to kind of the other side of it. What do you think are going to be your top 3 challenges that you're going to have to overcome to accomplish your goals and to be on this journey?
Challenges? Probably knowing I might come into not being able to finish a race, whether it might be mental or physical, just because it's like I've started running and my knee is already bothering me. So if I get to the point where... So I think challenges will be, there is going to be a physical and emotional hurdle eventually. And instead of dreading that it's going to come, I'm just going to accept that it's part of the process and it's okay.
Okay. So I'm going to paraphrase a little bit here because I think this is a very important point for our audience. Understanding that you will not always be able to accomplish everything that you set your mind to.
But this is part of the fear of failure. And it's very important to point out.
But it is also part of life. Right? I mean, we don't walk in every single day and every single week with everything we wanted to do, or who we would become, and we've all of a sudden became that. There would be no challenge. There is no journey. There's no growth that comes with that. There's just that you're just there. It'd be like you instantly having the lottery, as an example, or you wake up tomorrow and you're able to run a marathon. You never actually went to that place that built to that point where you can actually do it. That sense of accomplishment that you would see. And it's something we would also be teaching our children. It's the idea of sort of earning your way and figuring out how you got there and appreciating the steps that were stumbles along the way and how valuable they are, and also getting to overcome the challenges. So that's one. You got 2 more to go.
Okay.
So
well,
top 3 challenges. So this is a big one, but it's a great
one to
have.
And I'm still to date, this is probably something I'm struggling with, is balancing out like running with the kids.
Yes.
So for me, it will be balancing out probably mom duties along with this personal goal that I have. Because if my kids are having a bad day, I can't just stick them in the stroller and run. So it would definitely be the balance of my journey to my goal and my responsibilities as well.
So let's talk about that for a little bit, because I think everybody's going to have a bad day. in some kind. I mean, we could say.
So I refer to a bad day as if my daughter is crying profusely because she struggles with acid reflux. I'm not sticking her in a stroller and running if she's still crying. So these are things where, okay, maybe I didn't get to my run today, but I get to be with my kids and be the comfort that they need. So this is going to tie into the struggles of getting to my goal, because if there is training involved and I'm not able to get to it on certain days, or if it's an extended period of days, maybe even a week, whatever the circumstances may be, even things with life in general, not just the kids, if anyone getting sick, it's definitely going to be that normal life routine or responsibilities will get in the way, and finding a way to probably change how I'm doing it. So maybe changing when I do my training, as opposed to doing it in the afternoon or the morning, or maybe doing a run when they're down at night and Omar's here at home. So these are things, definitely challenges that will definitely come up eventually as the kids grow.
So you're mentioning something that I would, even in the management world that I've lived in from a business point of view, it's called adaptive management. And the whole idea is you turn around and realize that circumstances are going to change. There are circumstances that you have no control over. I mean, it could be the weather, it could be, a child crying, it could be, something that prevented you financially, prevented you with time, prevented you with anything. So how do you adapt? It's not the management piece, although I do use that for the business end of it, but it is adaptive to your own life, which means you can see that there's going to be a challenge. However, you're going to adapt to it. And so I think this is
you don't make that the reason that you stop, except you just change how you're doing it.
Right. And I think part of this also ties into this general journey that we've talked about, our soul's journey. And I'll say it briefly because I think we can touch on it in a different episode. But I've always referred to our journey in the sense that it's like a river. And so your journey wants to take you a certain place. Now, the river is going to wind. It's going to have faster parts where the current's much higher, other places where it's still. And these are all part of, I think, what I would call life. However, you can fight your journey and you can try to go upstream. You can cut over the banks. You can do all kinds of things that you want to do. But the journey still wants to take you somewhere. And I think if you look at the life part of these things that you adapt to, these are things that are brought your way in order for you to grow. And if you take that on as a way to grow, you now have the beginnings of a very beautiful journey. And mind you, as much as you see us have these discussions on a day-to-day basis, not always easy to accomplish, right? So every day becomes a new day where you try to do that. Okay, so we've hit 2. Still got 1.
Okay, so the last thing that does come to mind is Omar and I are still in the process of growing our family. So I think if you're a mom, you know what it's like to start and restart. So it's going to be a complete reset if we decide to grow our family even further in the future. That understanding or, allowing myself to be in the normal transition of another pregnancy, growing a baby, and being able to press the restart button all over again after that baby is born, to get myself back into shape. Because your body is forever changed once you have a child, and it is very tough to get yourself back up again. And postpartum is definitely not easy in many aspects. So for me, I know that is coming, just because we do want a bigger family. So,
by the way, that's not tomorrow.
It's not tomorrow, not anytime soon. But it is something that I'm aware of. It's there, and right now I'm already telling myself that if I can build myself up now, I can do it again.
That's the spirit. And I think, taking Savanah's words, for everybody, you will always have a chance to rebuild yourself, to accomplish more.
The stage is yours. You can do whatever you want in the time frame that you want, with the limitations or or not any limitations as well.
And from a broader point of view, I'll just touch on it just for a moment. Whatever happened in your past, whether you're thinking about this goal or other things, doesn't define your future.
No.
And I think if we're able to really take that perspective, we will now take our goals, somewhat, I would say, not more seriously, but realistically, so that they can be accomplished. And there's a momentum. I always remember one of the best motivational speeches that I've heard came from, and I almost feel, now that I'm thinking about it, I wish I remembered the name. It was an admiral that spoke at a commencement for college graduation. And just to paraphrase it a little bit, he said that you start your day with accomplishments and you build on those. And you're looking at somebody who's a decorated soldier who's gone through quite a bit. And his biggest recommendation was you start the day with your first accomplishment by making your bed. And so it was one of the strangest things you would see, because people say, what difference does it make? You're going to be back in the bed anyway, right? But it was the sense of how you start with that discipline in your life and you build on small things to bigger things. And so I love that speech. It's probably one of the best commencement speeches I've ever heard. It's very powerful. And when you look at somebody who has accomplished things, and I personally, I have a lot of admiration for our armed services, particularly those who have served in wars, because they in turn have put an amazing sacrifice forward. But the only way they can accomplish that is with a team, and it's by doing this one thing every single day. You build on that and they're doing it in life and death circumstances. So absolutely, some of the most incredible people that will come through, but there's lessons to be learned for all of us. I mean, we're not all going to do the same thing the same way, but if you're a mom, you're waking up and having the first great start with the day. But then if the day doesn't turn out well, the next day is also another chance for doing it again.
I think it's very important. Omar mentioned that if you didn't have a particularly great past or a history, that doesn't define you. But if that didn't happen, however you want to look at it, those building blocks wouldn't have gotten to where you are today. And it's important that you don't pull yourself back because of what has happened rather than what will happen, because you have the choice now to decide what you're going to do, and choices after choices after choices and decisions that you make, it's a chain reaction. So you are constantly going to have opportunities to better yourself, but if you're hanging on to the past, it's not going to do you any good. So just keep moving.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that you would have to say is if you allow a certain stagnation by not.
It's almost like a limbo. And I've been in there before. So whatever, if you're in a situation and it almost feels like you're not moving at all, you need to find something that pulls you out of it. And even if you're really moving at an extremely slow pace, you're moving. And that's what's most important. To be able to continue that is going to be wonderful, just because once you're stuck, you can be stuck for a long time.
And I think a lot of people find themselves, particularly with the momentum of New Year's resolutions, to sometimes get stuck because they may have taken on too much, right? Or they may have picked a goal that was not realistically achievable. And I wouldn't say, when I say it that way, I don't mean that it could be achieved, but it's maybe not achievable within the time frame that's set.
And this is why giving yourself grace and probably taking a step back and just recalculating or looking at the decision again to maybe understand that, you know what, maybe I took on too much at once. I need to be able to probably go slower or have a smaller goal so that I can work myself up.
So one of the big things that I do when I want to build like high performance teams to really accomplish quite a bit, and this is over a long period of time, is you're trying to give your team a chance to bond, move forward, support one another, and keep going. So one of the things I will tell you for sure is if you find yourself in that place, the support structure around you is very important. And you shouldn't be hesitant to tap onto it. And that could be friends, that could be family, that could be your kids, that could be your spouse.
Your support system is so important.
And support systems can come through even strangers. I mean, oddly enough, I will tell you that There were times in my life where, you're at a low point. I mean, lots of things are not going right, and you're in the middle of it. So you're not in the perspective of looking towards a goal at this point. You're just stuck where you are. And I have found, and this is the funny part, is recognizing this is part of my soul's journey, is sometimes even a stranger walking by you that just gave you a smile, and you never see that person ever again, but you remember the way you felt at the time, and that took you to that next step. And so it's the small things that will happen. I mean, oftentimes people love having dogs for that reason, right? Because the dogs are always happy to see you. And so you could find yourself a bad day and you go home, and if all you're coming back home to is your cat, your dog, or your turtle, or whatever it might be, that could be enough for you. But draw on it, pull into it, because this is how you're able to change your energy and keep moving forward. All right. So I promised you a very provocative end question here that we're going to kind of go through here. So this is going to require us thinking about it a little bit. So I'm going to have to give you a moment as we're going to go through and do it.
Okay.
But I'm curious, and I think the audience is very curious on how you would view it. This is the question of imagination versus willpower. So what makes it on top in your journey? Is it the imagination or is it the willpower?
It's not either or.
Okay. Oh, I like that. All right. So now the interview gets the interview back.
You know what? If you're, and I'll actually use my dreams as an example.
Okay.
If I have a very inspiring dream to write about, and it's a great scene to put in a book, that is part of my imagination gave me the willpower to do it.
So I think maybe defining it a little differently, because I still think you're kind of hinting around the corners of this.
Okay.
So a willpower would be, an example would be, I will not eat chocolate all the time, like that New Year's resolution you've seen. The imagination part is chocolate's not bad for me, but having a certain amount a certain time would be okay. So
well, then the imagination part of the understanding of what is good and bad for you is a great way to then probably eliminate the willpower part, just because if you can rationalize with yourself that neither chocolate or how, let's use the burger lovers over here, it's not bad for you.
Are you sure you want to go down to the level of burger lovers? I mean,
yeah, of course.
Okay.
If it isn't bad for you, or if it is, so say now I will give a very big stretch. You're a smoker.
Okay.
Or you love drinking and you want to limit it or stop entirely. The biggest thing is saying, okay, I will now set myself to have one less a day, whether it's one bottle a day, one cigarette less a day, or one less a week. So if you smoke 5 packs a week, maybe smoke 4 packs and 3/4 of a pack. And the gradual, being able to gradually do like elimination is almost a way to trick your mind into feeling like, wow, it's okay, I did it, and realize that you are very capable if you give yourself the parameters where it's possible to do it. That's why I say don't do anything cold turkey, because it doesn't work.
So let's use that as an example, because actually that's pretty tangible for a lot of people out there. Smoking is, I mean, there's a social component to it too, but it's also an addiction. So you kind of have both because of the nicotine and everything else.
Yes.
The gradual cutback makes a lot of sense, but is that the willpower piece where I'm going to hold back from those extra few cigarettes that I really wanted to have?
There is a willpower component.
Okay.
But honestly, you can't have the willpower component without the imagination component. Because how are you supposed to set yourself up, which is the imagination part of, you know what, it is bad for me, but in order for me to understand that I am capable, which is now the good side, that I am capable and I can live without it, you're going to have to insert willpower somewhere. You're going to have to challenge yourself, and many things in life, again, whether big or small, is going to be a bit of a struggle. But if you do it in such small increments, you can actually find yourself managing pretty well. The biggest part is probably going to be when you get to the point that elimination is complete and you've gone from 5 packs or 5 bottles to that very last one. And then now you've gotten to the point where, oh, I'm eliminating it entirely. And that might be such a big shock for you, but I think it's more mental, just because physically you've done it in such a gradual way that your body can cope, but can your mind overwrite the willpower to want to restart again? And that is where you have the power then to get back into your old habits or to really just eliminate it altogether. Is you need to accept, and you need to accept it in the beginning, that there is going to be a time where you reach the end of that elimination of this item you're trying to.
So if we took it to a different aspect, right? I mean, so there's obviously goals that are like, for example, I'm going to smoke less, or I'm going to stop smoking as an example. But there's also goals that are accomplishing something different. Let's use yours as an example.
Okay.
So how does willpower and imagination fit into what you're doing, the running? Because this is a different type of goal.
So probably for me, it's going to be, there's going to be a point where I can't keep running marathons, right? So I can't.
Most of us get to that point.
Okay. So, but even if it's not necessarily age, rather than it is fatigue on the body.
Yes.
So say now I get to the point where I've had the privilege of running a few marathons and recognizing, okay, I need to also understand that I need to have the willpower to stop when it is necessary to stop. So if I'm burning out, or I'm being too hard on my body, or I'm not giving myself enough recovery time, or I'm probably neglecting my responsibilities or not doing good by my responsibilities because I'm allowing this thing to basically overtake everything else, I need to have the willpower to turn around and say, okay, maybe I just need to take a step back.
Yeah.
And whether that's a break or just life in general with responsibilities, I think that's definitely probably tied into the running. Knowing when to stop is just as important as going.
I think that's pretty wise. So you're looking at these goals, and I think for the audience itself, goals are great. They can set a target for you, but you can't live perpetually in a goal.
Of course not.
You're going to be accomplishing new things. Your journey will change. You could be going from, Savanah went from being herself to being a mother, and later on, mother of 1, mother of 2, mother of 3. She's going to have additional goals that she's going to accomplish throughout her life. I think most of us are going to be in that position as well. They don't have to be lofty goals. We're not solving world hunger or anything else, or having peace. We are each part of a giant community, solving kind of, I think, each of our own little goals and interacting. The imagination part, to me, has always been the primary motivator for me. Willpower is a curtailing of something you want, but the motivational part of having the imagination is manifesting kind of what you're looking for, either yourself, your future, an accomplishment, whatever it would be. And I think they both work in conjunction with each other. They're almost like two sides of the same coin. But I do believe that the imagination is such an incredible motivator because it sets your horizon out.
Because you can really change your outlook and your energy on something if you project it out enough. Yeah. Which is why I really do think they are, like you said, two sides of the same coin. If you have enough of the willpower and the imagination, gosh, they tie right into each other.
Yeah.
So definitely manifest what you want, whether you're moving at a slower pace or a faster pace. The biggest thing is that you want it for yourself, and please want it for yourself. Don't rely on others to keep you motivated, just because if you don't want it yourself, you're probably going to reach a point where you're going to stop, and you found basically that, what's the point? It's what a lot of people say. Well, what is the point? The point is that you want this for yourself, and you need to want it for yourself, because no one else is going to be waking up for you in the morning, dragging you out of bed to go, write that test, or get your driver's license. I mean, whatever it's going to be, and no one's going to be in your own mind. And this is why being able to understand your mind and understand that you can shift your energy where you want it. If you wake up, it's going to be a blue Monday. Well, tell you what, my friend, it will be a blue Monday.
You'll manifest.
You will manifest that you're gonna get on the freeway. You're gonna have people cutting you off. You're gonna have a crappy day at work because I know you got called in by HR or whatever it is. You're gonna.
Let's hope not. I mean, my gosh, that would be terrible.
Well, you're going to reflect very much what you give out. So if you can give out positive energy and, just positivity in general, it's going to find its way back to you.
Yeah. Do you mind if I close out with a little story from my dad?
Of course not.
So my dad used to smoke. So this is back a little bit tying to what we used to do. And he smoked a variety of things. I think in a lot of cultures in the world, cigarette smoking is very commonplace and easy to get to. And oftentimes you start at an early age socially, you may not like it, and then eventually it sort of becomes part of your life. So my dad used to smoke. He used to smoke cigarettes, and then he eventually smoked pipes, which was a lot nicer. This is kind of my experience with him growing up. So my sister and I were obviously very little when this was happening. We didn't want him to smoke, and he was struggling with the idea himself. And so what we would do, so this is the mind of a child. We would basically steal his cigarettes or steal his tobacco.
You can't smoke if you can't find them.
Right, you can't find it. But obviously, in our child's mind, there's not so much the recognition that, he can go out and buy more, right?
Of course. It's just you see what's there and you think that's it.
And so what we did is we thought we were very clever. So my sister and I were extraordinarily clever with this idea. So we would take them away, right? And that would stop everything. So we didn't like it for him. We didn't quite understand why we didn't like it, but we just didn't like it. So, and we obviously didn't want to have be around the secondhand smoke, but I don't think we were thinking consciously about its secondhand smoke and what it does.
Yeah, the extent of how bad it was. Yeah.
And so we would turn around and say, well, it's really not nice for us to steal stuff from our dad, right? I mean, as kids, we shouldn't be doing that. So we give it back to him as a present. And then we'd steal it back again the next day.
Okay, of course.
So we went through this cycle with him. And I think he began to realize that this is something he wanted to change for himself. And he actually quit cold turkey.
It's amazing. It's not easy to do that.
But it was his motivation came a lot from, I think, maybe the indirect message of us as children, and then his own desire to also be in that position himself. So it would have been a combination of willpower and imagination, and then a little bit of prodding from tiny little kids, which were, my sister and I.
You know what? Sometimes it's going to be, I think, like you said, sometimes a stranger is just going to change your perspective on something and just drive you to, turn completely the other way. And if you find that little spark of motivation, hold on to it. Because I mean, if it motivates you enough to stop a bad habit or, finally fly across the world like you've always wanted to do, or these tiny little things, that's wonderful. Because motivation is so precious, and I want everyone that has that motivation to keep it alive, because it is something that really drives you forward. Because if you don't have any motivation at all, you start losing a bit of that spark and fire to find something to look forward to. And that's why hold on to that when you have it, and definitely surround yourself with people who want that for you as well and support you.
So I think we're going to close out on that note, but this is very interesting. It was nice to be able to somewhat pick Savanah's brain and try to understand a little bit of what she's thinking, again, without any preparation in advance. But our overall message for you is welcome to the new year. Set those goals, make them achievable for yourself, and appreciate the journey of finding you through your goals. And never look at them as a dreaded thing. I think they're wonderful. Don't set 50 million goals. but set those that will actually imagine yourself a year from now with your new goal accomplished. And I think that's going to be a precious motivation overall, whether you pull that from yourself, from your family, from your friends, from your critters around you, whatever it might be. But it's a beautiful start to the new year, and we're very happy to be here with you.
And don't look at it as pressure. I mean, if you look at 365 days, you might look at it as a countdown.
Yes.
But look at it as an opportunity.
Okay.
It is 365 days of opportunities lying ahead, and you should take grasp of it.
Okay. And one last note for our audience out there, we really appreciate you. If you have any stories you'd like to share about motivation, we would love to hear them, and we can include them in upcoming episodes. And then, as we need to do a little bit, if you appreciate our content, please hit a like and subscribe to our channel.
If you have family members that you think need to hear this, or friends, family, whatever it is, share it around. We all love gathering here at the Munch Corner to enjoy each other's company and tea.
And tea.
Right.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We've got a great year ahead of us.
Bye.
Bye.